Hello and welcome back. We are here playing as Great Qing. The quest for a casual 1 billion continues. It's kind of the objective. We put in a few construction centers since the last episode. Last episode was relatively uneventful. It was mainly, we talked quite a bit about why we are playing the universities, how they are, which involves both throughput and understanding, you know, the tech spread and how this mechanic works, which I think is really important to understand, and it's also very important on China because it really is what allows you to catch up, and you really want to push ahead of time, build a ton of universities. And so percussion caps maybe not the way to go here, because we're not really fighting anyone where we really need skirmish. And I know it would be kind of nice, but I think we're going to not research this and instead just go straight for steel frame buildings. We want to be ahead of time on technology in particular because we are NAT spreading. You can only NAT spread stuff that other people have researched, and so we want to be ahead of time with most of our active research, especially because our active research is actually slower than our passive research, and so we will catch up to everyone else. We don't have to worry about playing catch up, and instead we'll try and get ahead. And so we might even do, like, next after this, malaria prevention, which is a tier 4 tech when we don't even have all the tier 2 techs. We don't even have all the tier 2 techs. Percussion cap is also going to nat spread to us soon if it's not going to be already. Like, where's our natural spread for that? Wait, why is it not natural spreading to it? It should be natural spreading to us. What the hell? Why is it not is it bugged? Is this bugged? No, okay, now triage is not spreading to us. Okay, that was weird. A little bit of an interesting thing, but this is kind of current state of affairs. I think this episode we're going to try and crank up construction a little bit more aggressively, certainly with the steel frame buildings, so perhaps we will stop dishonoring our family and bringing shame upon them once we get steel frame buildings and instead go up to about 2K construction. So I apologize to those for my cowardice. We're going to go to 2K construction, etc., mostly etc., and off we go. Let's get it. So we're going after Korea now. We managed to annex Orania. We're cranking up construction a little bit. We're up about 100 or so. And we're in the positive, so we're going to keep cranking it up in just a second here. After Korea, we're probably going to go after our dirt in Portugal here, because it's rightfully our dirt. We'll have him. And we are kind of flirting a little bit with disaster here with this rev. This is one of the downsides of moving the capital to specifically Jiangxi, that I probably didn't fully consider as much when I moved it here. Maybe the capital would have been just fine sitting in Beijing, but it was as part of the opening step, it was nice to move it here. But it is a little bit annoying when you rev because you will be completely surrounded, and this makes revs a little bit harder to win, although if you want to switch sides in a rev, then this can make revs really good. So for example, we could accumulate a ton of infamy and then switch sides and reset our infamy, something like this. We get a trade agreement with them, them being good old kebab. I doubt that that'll make it so we can invite them to the customs union, but we're not that far off from being able to get them in the customs union, and we're bankrolling them. So as soon as we get obligations with people, like Baroda, let's say, it will make it much easier for us to... Why can't we protectorate them using the obligation? Obligation is worth... Oh, is this the bug? I hate this bug. So we see here it is minus 39, and then this bug is so obnoxious. It's minus 39, and when we use the obligation is actually worth 50, but it changes the values. So what is this? 7, 7, 10, 25, 10? 7, 7, 10, 25, 10 for the other values. So if we take a look here, 7, 7, 10, 25, 10. So is the math just not mathing? I hate it when it does that. But let's see, 45 was the 10s plus the 25, so that's 45, plus the additional 14 of the other one, so that's what, 59? And so it should be... Oh, the math is just not mathing? Wait, let's math that again. So 45 plus... So it should be 59, so this should say... 41, so that math isn't mathing, so this acceptance should be 41, right? But then when we math here, the maths even less, because this adds up to 50 plus 45, so that's 95, 102, they should have positive acceptance, but they don't. I mean, we could try just using the obligation and see if this is just a UI thing. Let's do it. And, like, in theory, they should say yes, right? They should be like, yeah, sure, I'll become a protectorate, no problem, you're the best ever. But they refuse the subjugation. The acceptance rate is -59. And, wait, what? We called it an obligation, my guy. We even don't have the obligation anymore, so that's kind of cool. A little bit of bug action, of course, which is, spectacular when this is kind of the play pattern we're looking to play, is expanding the market, make money moves, be this economic hegemon, and of course we can't do it because, bug. I suppose we could save and load, maybe some of this sort of thing, just so it doesn't happen again, maybe. I mean, we could just load. Obviously, that's a bug, so I really don't feel bad about loading here. We'll load. This one's probably good. But that's like, I've encountered this before. I'm not sure exactly what causes it, or if it's just like, a constant thing. Donation of knowledge, sure, but then we're going to delete that wherever it is. Because you only want to build, the throughput's so important that you really only want to build in the one spot on the unis, and so we're gonna, we can't delete it because we have a rev brewing. No, what a world. But let's see if we can get a protectorate now. So we have the obligation still, and -39, use the obligation, should give us +50, doesn't give us +50, math doesn't math. Okay, well, we just won't waste the obligation, I guess. Not that we can really use it for anything anyways, I guess, because apparently it doesn't math. But I guess we'll continue on. I mean, freaking UK is a fucking menace this run. Just taking a fat chunk out of... Alright, so there's kind of a lot going on right now. We declared on Portugal, Dutch East Indies sided with them, as well as Prussia. So we're going to be fighting that. We put in on Prussia, well, why don't we actually just take a look? We put in on Prussia just war reps from Prussia, which will cause them to mobilize a decent chunk of troops, but we're mainly just liberating these small miners from the Dutch East Indies so we can gobble them up ourselves. And so this is kind of the plan. They want to transfer Gaza, yada yada. Decent chance that they back down, though, because -75. They do have the gold reserves, we do have loans, etc., mostly etc., and so this is the situation here. But we see France kind of interfering with, someone with whom we have a customs union, and so what we're going to do is we are going to side with them, which is going to cause a decent chunk of problems. We do have... we can't send anyone to Siam to defend specifically, so this is actually kind of sucks. But we will maybe be able to get something done. We're going to be probably looking to land them, and we are lamenting the fact that we do not have skirmish, because we were just saying, we don't think we're really going to fight these things. We don't really need percussion cap, yada yada. And now we're seeing the error of our ways. We're going to swap up to that. We're going to swap up to first aid, because first aid doesn't incur penalty. We're going to do cargo port here. We're of course going to make sure we're subbing everything. We're not going to swap up this, and so if we have to conscript, at least we'll be conscripting skirmish infantry, and we're not doing it yet, but we are preparing for an eventuality where this war with France specifically might be a little bit difficult. Heavy-handedness, you're telling me. We do have to be mindful of this. We probably won't rev, but we can't really afford to rev, so we're going to try and be a little bit careful on this front. But yeah, this is a little bit getting busy with it. Trying to just defend Siam. We would be super excited if France just backs down. But I think it's unlikely that this happens. And so we're probably going to have to fight France. At least a little bit here. They want to subjugate Siam. Siam is part of our customs union. Like decent chunk, and so we don't want to allow this to happen, so we're going to continue on. Also, we have gotten Ottomans into the customs union, although they're having problems of their own, and I think one of these guys into the customs union, I forget which. We are just spreading our influence. I think it was Hybridad, and so that's kind of how things are moving. The market is expanding ever bigger and bigger, as it were. Looks like we have gotten to the point where Baroda has decided not to be buggy, and we can protectorate them finally. It has the exact same value of this, well, So if we show here, it has the same value of minus 39. If we show here, it says that they, I think, just straight up accept plus 11. And so, you know, with the calling of the obligation, so it like debugged itself, I assume, or something like this. Because if we use the obligation, of course, they should say yes. And so we will be protectorating them, and then we are going to be damaging relations with them as well. Egypt wants a defensive pact. We're going to say no. And then once they are accept, we damage relations with them. I think we're no longer bankrolling them already because of problems. And we are also off and away with both our wars. We are trying to keep a close eye on this. If it gets too sketchy, we might stop. Of course, we might never stop because, you know, the suffering of our people is temporary. Capitalism's forever. And so we do want to get on laissez-faire real bad, especially because we are trying to get the construction up this episode. I think we're going to be able to go to 2K pretty comfortably, though, once we get the steel frame buildings researched. We had a guy land. Did we have a guy land and then unassign randomly? Probably, because why wouldn't that be the case? Nope, the landings are still coming in. Okay, so we'll just move some of our guys over to deal with this, and then just dust up the war pretty quick with these guys, land Portugal, and then start getting in on France. We want to get in over here with one of these guys, kind of help out Russia a little bit with Prussia, because we do want to get the war reps from Prussia. A lot of kind of going on all at once right here, so... But we'll continue. Good news, everyone. It looks like the Punjabi aristocratic revolt is actually winning here. So, if I'm not mistaken about how the game mechanics work, these guys will not be a subject of Great Britain, and so we might be able to get the Sikh Empire inside our customs union again after they enforce here, which is super big nice, and just absolutely spectacular. That is so spooky. But it's supposed to go minus 10% at the checkpoint. See, here's what I really hate, is sometimes it just insta-pops without you actually clicking the event, and you don't get the minus 10. And sometimes it just minus 10s here, and so we have to decide whether we want to roll the dice, but man, do we really love capitalism. Public address goes awry. We get minus an enactment chance, something like this. We're gonna have, like, a coin flip, though. On the next tick. I don't know. Maybe we roll the dice here. It was pretty grim, though. Pretty spooky. Alright, moment of truth. We've decided to roll the dice. Let's see what happens. And we get the minus 10. See, I don't know exactly what it is that sometimes just absolutely makes it go ballistic, but we just get the minus 10. And where's our event? Because we're supposed to get an event alongside it. Rubber Rush is not a revolution event. So I'm not sure what exactly happened there. That's so very weird. I think it's bugged out, whatever's going on. We are enforcing slowly on Portugal. Hopefully we get in on this guy and release a whole bunch of these guys. And then hopefully we did get a landing in on Prussia here. We kind of want to tidy this up with Prussia. So now we have this war goal on Prussia. Yeah, they're not a fan of any of this action. But we do want to kind of finish this up so that we can get in on France finally. Although... we do have our guys moving... oh, these guys aren't moving over to the front. These guys are just dicing up this guy, but we do want to get in on France because we don't want France to go after Siam, but it looks like they're just pushing into Orissa, which is not going to subjugate Siam. You know, it's just going to... if they have any war goals on Orissa, it's just going to enforce those. So I guess we got to check up in on that. Yeah. And nothing on Orissa, but once Orissa gives up, then France will start landing Siam, so we do want to kind of maybe get something in on France before then, so that we can start ticking them down. So we are probably not going to be able to defend Siam here, because, of course, this is an update that's coming at 1.5 or in the open beta, but we cannot defend Siam's front, and the landing is coming in, and there's nothing we can really do. They're already at just regular 9 because they are losing more from war exhaustion than France is, so maybe we should have gotten on it a little earlier. Also, this continues to be absolutely sketchy as hell because we're not actually rolling any of the events. I don't know if the thing is rigged, or sorry, not rigged, bugged. Not rigged. I don't know if it's bugged such that it's like that. I don't really know what's going on here. We are going to slap down in the capital a ton of munitions plants. And just regular percussion caps. But, like, I'm not sure Because we're not even getting any of the events. We haven't gotten an event on any of these ticks. We're just getting random upticks or down ticks, which is not how it's supposed to work. Like, see here, we didn't get an event. Where's our corresponding event to the full tick? Instead, we're just ticking up and down kind of randomly, and we're not, there's no player agency in here. And so I think, wow, did we fail every naval invasion? What the frick? We had 4 go in. Holy hell. But maybe France fails theirs. Looks like France didn't succeed either. What happened? Dude, this save file is all kind of weird. How did we fail with a quad landing? We're currently engaged in battle. Preparing. Wait, what? Patrolling coast. Okay, well, whatever. Where are you currently engaged? Oh, I guess you're off the other coast. Okay. Well, I don't know how we failed all 4 naval invasions, but somehow they failed the naval invasion too, which they really shouldn't have failed, like, with the 80-stack navy that they were, like, blasting in there. So I'm very confused. Maybe I need to close my client, because we had the whole Baroda thing earlier too. And when will this guy enforce, you know? Like, some weird things happening right now. Gwalior and Orissa. Here, well, we of course will allow Scotland into our customs union. We will invite this boyo to our customs union because it's free, and if it's free, it's for me. You know how it is. And we will see if anyone will protect it. But I guess just kind of some weird stuff happening right now, which I don't know is correct. Also, the whirring in the background, that is my ceiling fan. The window is closed, so there's no cars. Instead, you get the whirring because Hurricane Hillary is outside. So, you know, obviously not going to have the window open for that. As much as, well, I mean, I guess we could open it for the content. Wow, what is this? We're getting landed by Spain? Wait, why are we getting... When did we start fighting Spain? Is Spain... Oh, I guess Spain's on the side of this war. Well, I don't think that they get in very easily. Well, it's kind of funny. I guess the landing was coming in on us. And then... Oh, did our troops catch them and that's why our landings failed? Is that what happened? Because the troops were no longer eligible to naval invade? Maybe that's what happened. Well, we don't want to go with our 16 stack or our 4 stack, so I guess we're going with a 20 stack and a 50 stack. Huh, I wonder if that's what did it. Weird. Or a 10 stack, rather. But now they're unlikely to get this landing off. I don't think there are any war goals on us, are there? Yeah, no, it's just regime change in Burma. But Burma is a subject of ours, or they're in our customs union. We also need to add some more construction. Actually, we're not going to, because once this ticks up, we're going to want to switch to steel. And we did have, we did put in a bunch of stuff so that the steel swap will be beneficial. We have overbuilt on steel. I think we'll continue to... We need more, like, wood, and if I'm not mistaken, like, wood and coal is kind of expensive, so we do need to make sure we get that to help facilitate the steel. So where do we have a lot of labor and no construction malices? And that doesn't build up to 51, but this will build up to 51, and so we'll just slap this down at level 51, and we will need to put in, of course, a whole bunch of these in Hainan. But yeah, just strange stuff, I guess. I guess it makes sense if our troops, the quad landing fails because our troops get occupied by their landing on us, which is kind of okay for us because that means Siam's not ticking down. So, yeah. So we just random rolled a market liberal landowner, which is, you know, a little bit late to the party, but I guess we don't hate it. So we're gonna put him in power over here. Replace this guy. Sorry, royalist. Oh no, we can't exile. He's not a dissident though. We interface brain. Alright, we grant him leadership. Now he's in charge of the scholar officials, which is perfect for us because now we will be getting a better tick on our laissez-faire anyways, and so we'll have a 60% chance here. And also the landowners are going to be super happy with this law pass, which is probably kind of the bigger thing, because this means we can go right after, you know, we want to get off of monarchy, and so this will help us get off monarchy, so this will be big nice. We are also just looking to land this on France. I think we already had troops there. Yeah, we did. We're just looking to land this on France, and we do land it because this will give ticking war score, which was a pretty big mistake not to have this before because it's just the war reps, and so we will get an enforcement eventually on them. Well, for Siam's sake, I guess. Especially if they continue to try and land us, because we're just keeping a ton of troops back here. So I guess it's just the waiting game. We have, you know, 0 infamy, so this is a little bit lame. But let's see if we can protectorate anyone. So we can protectorate Scotland, who joined our customs union, and so we will do this, which will give us some infamy, because if you're not using your infamy decay, you're losing it. And so because of this, we won't mind just sticking in this war a little while longer. Otherwise, we maybe would have wanted to leave, but now we have the 6 infamy from the protectorate on the Scotland. And so I think we are going to stop bankrolling them and also start damaging relations so that we can, you know, go after them, dominion them. This is the low infamy way. This is the way. And we are cruising on up on steel frame. Only 10 weeks left. And so everything's looking pretty good here. We obviously defend very easily here, and they're just killing a whole bunch of their troops. So France should be kind of over this pretty soon. We are putting down this native uprising. Let's double check some of this stuff. I guess. No, we don't want to do this because it's the heavy malaria stuff. But maybe we do this because you actually compete with other people for this. And we are not as much competing on the other spots. But these guys will be done soon. We get coffee talk. These have started coming back in. We've started to get events again. Although that 90% was a little bit spooky. Kind of uncomfortable that... Oh, man, we're just like... Well, we'll take this. Just in the last act here, we're just having a little bit of struggle getting across the finish line. We're on ascent with Laissez-faire. We really want to get it through. But, yeah, it looks like France is just over it, and they're done. And so Siam, of course, gets to stay in our customs union because they did not get subjugated. Of course, they're defending the borders, so we're not going to be able to bring them into the fold very easy. Is Burma defending the borders? Probably. Yeah, they are. Tragic. But we're continuing on, you know, just a little bit of customs union update. This is what the customs union looks like. I'm not sure if we had this on camera for this one, but we did get Sweden in, and so it is getting pretty big chonkin right now. Let's go, baby. We get steel frame, and we're gonna start upgrading these slowly, and by slowly I mean probably not as that slow. So if we take a look here, we see not even able to employ up. The steel price is not expensive enough. Well, we have the solution here. We have the solution to your problem. Ba-bam. This will increase the price of steel. Now, I just realized the boom booms are gonna actually probably be what gates us, so we'll put these... we'll move them to the front of the queue, and then we will start shifting a whole bunch of these other construction centers over to steel frame buildings, which will increase the price of steel. Our steel will employ up, and of course, we get the big nice construction, and we will just absolutely fly to 2K, maybe even 2.5K. We'll see. It'll be double by the end here. So we are everywhere trying to up the production of all the stuff that we use in steel frame buildings, which also includes glass, if I'm not like catastrophically mistaken, right? Yeah, it does. And so in all of these places, where we are specifically upping it, this is where we are going to prioritize first turning up all the construction centers. That way we are benefiting from the construction. You see here, we're upping the glass, from the extra construction efficiency, just a little bit of a min-maxy type thing, but it's very minor, but it is going to help us get up, and we are very close to 2K here. We are losing a bit of money, but not a lot of money. The investment pool is actually growing, and this is going to absolutely get super stanky. We get a war with Peru, Bolivia. We're annexing them. I guess we maybe needed to assign more people. Well, we didn't. It's not that we don't have enough people, but we swapped on to skirmish, which we are suffering the penalty, and I figured this was a war we could win through the penalty, but maybe a little bit ambitious. We'll just mobilize everyone. We will have an overwhelming advantage as the bonus or the malice goes away, but here, hopefully, because we're so handsome and we've missed this tick a million times, we're just going to roll, and we're just going to get Laissez-faire, and we're just going to be super big, nice, happy, and here we have it. We get Laissez-faire, which is going to, look at this, instantly, plus 357k. Now, this is, of course, because this can now drain really nicely, and we are still swapping over, you know, not all of these at once, because you never drink the whole thing, but we will be continuing to swap over some of these, and now we're going to be a little bit less indiscriminate. We're just going to look to swap over a big chunk of these, and probably on the next one, on the next kind of wave, swap over the rest. Now, this is going to make a lot of the goods expensive. We're not looking to run any shortages, but we are definitely trying to up this. Scandinavia wants an alliance. They're in our customs union, right? We're going to say no, but we don't hate it. They are pretty big. Now, everyone is starting to be pretty big. We have several subjects here that we cannot protectorate because they're too big. So Orissa, we have an obligation with. These guys we have an obligation with. We can't protectorate these guys because they're too big. And their power status is too high. So in order to pull up our power status, we're probably going to build a little bit more navy. And we're also probably going to annex small guys, because when you annex small guys, you raise the average of these things, and which will help to pull these guys out of being a power status where you can't go up on them. So you will raise the average prestige by annexing these small prestige boyos, right? Not these ones, these are the unrecognized powers, but like Hamburg, Krakow, Bremen, Togurt, Bhutan, etc. These are pulling down the average. And the average is one of the ways in which you can get to being, you know, relatively high status, as well as proportion of the biggest guy. So if we increase our stuff and we annex a bunch of guys, this will make us more eligible to protectorate boyos. And we're also going after some of the protectorates we had made earlier in the run. We get an obligation from the Ottoman Empire. Kebab, could we do anything with this? We change so they're in our customs union. They owe us an obligation, but they are too big. They are an unrecognized major power, right? And so we have to decay this somehow, or decay the threshold such that we can actually go after them. And so we are going to be trying to probably, for the most part, go after really small countries, annex them up in order to pull down the average. So one of our more expensive construction goods is actually explosives, and, well, it's coming down now because we're building a lot of this, but one of the reasons we can't bring down the price of explosives, which isn't necessarily the goal, we want to have productive buildings, but one of the reasons that this building's not productive is fertilizer. And so we're going to kind of reevaluate our trade, and we are definitely going to try and ship out as much fertilizer as possible in order to increase the price of... kind of misclicked there, that's fine, in order to increase the price of all this stuff, and also maybe be able to pull people into the customs union better. Fertilizer is really, really good to export, and so as we raise the price of fertilizer, that should become profitable. Also, I think we can click the button. We can click the forbidden swap all button, which, ba-boom, we're up to 3K construction now, which will make us lose money, but I don't think we're running any shortage. We're running a shortage of boom booms, but this should get these places up and employing. You see it immediately ticks up quite a bit, but do we not have enough in the queue? Looks like we have a little bit of a... Looks like we did a little bit of a naughty here, but we should be able to wind this up pretty quick. I think we have some stuff in the queue, so we'll maybe just leave it, even though, you know, it is a little bit tenuous. I think we're adding a port there, so that'll work out fine for us. But we have nearly tripled construction this episode, right? Or what was it before? It was a little over 1K, so we'll try and get to 3,500, which will be the triple dipple. And this is off the back of Laissez-faire is a huge portion of this. You see, we are draining this about 1 million a week, and so we only have like 70 weeks of this or whatever, right? So this is not a sustainable thing, but we are going to just absolutely pump this GDP up an enormous amount, and the trade unions have a little bit of a come up. Let's go, baby. Let's not go. What? So we are going to try and make them happy. We did get on the laissez-faire, so let's see. Let's have a think here. The trade unions don't love this. We want the trade unions happy. We really, this is one of the worst malices to eat. The minus construction efficiency is terrible. So I guess we could go poor laws. The problem is we have so much unemployed that poor laws is actually particularly painful, but will the trade unions, nope, they don't like that. What is the ideology, my guy? You're a nihilist? I mean, we could try and get off state religion then, right? We could go total separation. The armed forces like it. The other dude likes it. The rural folk freaking hate it. The rural folk really hate it. But they only hate it because of the traditionalists, right? And so we could try and... Let's see if we have anyone we could overwrite them with. That's a Luddite, not what we are looking for. And so let's see if we can exile this boyo. Exile dissident, yep, smell you later, bro. And instead we get an authoritarian, much better. And this guy, notably, doesn't care about cultural exclusion at all. Right? But now, oop, that's not the one we're looking at. State religion, yeah. So no one cares if we go to freedom of conscience. The Confucian scholars care a little bit if we go to this. But total separation is going to be something that we are going to need eventually in order to allow migration. And so we are probably going to get on that just to allow this nihilist boyo to do his thing. And so we are going to need the armed forces in government. That should be the easiest one, and then we are going to do a law pass here. We could even go state atheism. It's just the Confucian scholars. I think we go total separation here, which is, you know, you can play to like pumping up these guys, and it gives you authority and birth rate. I mean, maybe we want to play to this out, because this China is one where you can do it on, but I still just don't like doing it. I think it's pretty strong on China, but right now we are just trying to get this trade union guy to not be upset because we do not want to eat the construction malice. We're much more... Actually, we can't handle this rev, can we? This rev that would come on in. So I think we don't even go total separation, right? Yeah, this rev is going to brew. Rights of assembly, we don't hate. We have a movement for it. Let's just take a look at rights of assembly, actually. We would actually want rights of assembly, but it just it makes too many people mad. Makes too many people mad. If we get a substantial looking rev, we will actually just swap to freedom of conscience, which nobody feels down about that. But that's kind of what we're doing with regards to all that jazz. So we finished subjugating Peru, Bolivia here, and I think we're going to call it an episode. The GDP hasn't quite... You can see it's starting to trend way up, or the trajectory is starting to look way more vertical, and so it hasn't quite caught up with what we've done this episode. But the big thing we've done this episode, the big thing, is we tripled construction. Ain't no double GDP episode nonsense. That's the old Generalist. This is the new Generalist, where we triple construction in episodes instead of doubling it, which is just weak and insipid and feckless. And so instead we have tripled construction. By the way, I don't think we're going to be tripling construction very often. And so this was pretty nice. We had a convergence of factors that allowed us to do this. One, we have an enormous investment pool, which is, by the way, draining very, very quickly. So in a year's time, we will run out. And that will hit us like a ton of bricks, but that's future Generalist problems. So the combination of switching the Laissez-faire and unlocking a whole chunk of the investment pool to really, really make good use of, this was a big part of it, as well as getting onto steel frame buildings. Currently, we're going for rotary valve engine with the idea of either going electricity or combustion engine immediately. I think we're going to go for combustion engine. Well, actually, electricity is so good. We might go for... electricity. Pump jacks would also be pretty good here. Open hearth process is not spreading to us, which is going to be fantastic because it's going to make our steel more efficient, and we're using a ton of steel now. We haven't made the swap over to, for example, you know, if we take a look at the steel here, you can see it's pretty expensive. So, and we haven't made the swap over to covered markets, so we will continue to produce steel and glass specifically in very high amounts. We're currently doing the nihilist movement as well, looking to get off of or looking to hit total separation, and so this is pretty committal for the China run, but I just don't think we're gonna... I don't see a world where we're going to be able to make the Confucian scholars really, really happy for, like, all the time for getting this 4% with, like, kind of how we normally play. I know a lot of people don't like that I just always go liberal, but it seems generally best. China is one where it might not be best. So this might be inefficient, but that's whatever. We've also expanded the customs union quite a bit in this episode and gotten some pretty big protectorates. We protectorated this guy, we protectorated Baroda, both Scotland and Baroda, so that is going pretty good. Now that we're protectorating up, we're damaging relations with them, and once we finish damaging relations with them, we can stop damaging relations with these guys. Once we finish, then we can look to incorporate them. We're probably going to open up Japan's market sometime once we are floating a decent chunk of infamy. You see here, we do not have very much infamy, so we want to make high infamy plays, and if we come in here, and we go here, and we go here, we probably can't make any new protectorates right now. And if we could accrue some infamy and maybe do something, but instead we will be trying to get people in their customs union and such. Ooh, Spain, we could try and invite now. They won't say yes, but we have been, maybe we bankroll Spain now? Look to get them in. We are improving relations with them as well, something like this. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, you know, do the YouTube algorithm stuff, and other than that, have a good one.